Hi, I'm here again today with Jessica Liston, who is allowing us to share in her weight loss journey. Jessica knows, as a lot of us may be aware, that people tend to face a lot of judgment based on what they look like. And sometimes we may judge people who are overweight as being fat and lazy or unmotivated or lacking willpower or whatever. We don't ever really consider what got them to where they are now. And today Jessica's decided that she wants to share her journey and what she has dealt with and what got her to where she was. How many months ago when you started this?
December.
Okay, so coming up on pretty soon be a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that she thinks that a lot of other people out there, the kind of experience that maybe they also have shared, and they haven't been able to like open up and share that with anybody else. And she just wants them to know that there's somebody here who understands and can share what they're going through. Jessica, ready?
Yes. Okay, so I know for me, I was overweight because I was sexually assaulted in college. And I wanted to make myself so unattractive that I could not be hurt that way again. And so I turned to food as my comfort. And I wanted to insulate myself and, again, be so unattractive, so put on weight, and eventually seclusion. So I was overweight and I'm very secluded. I withdrew a lot. Even though I'm married and I have 6 kids, I still was, I would hide out in my room a lot. I get to the point where I just was so unhappy and afraid that I withdrew. And so I wanted to, what was I going to say? Sorry. And so that led me to being stuck in like a shame cycle. And it took me a long time to get out of that shame cycle, or to want to finally have to not be driven by fear, because when I was assaulted, it kind of took a little bit of like the drive I always had and the tenacity for life that I had, and instead of being driven by that, I was driven by fear. I was afraid. I was too afraid to do anything because I was afraid something would happen to me, or I would be hurt again, or if I put myself out there, I would get hurt. Someone would hurt me. I don't know. I just lived in constant fear.
When you were as you were gaining the weight, were you conscious of feeling like that was your
Yes,
protection?
For sure. I knew that that's why I was doing it. And in 4 years of college, I gained 100 pounds because I just, again, like in my mind, I know that's not why. Attractiveness had nothing to do with it. And I know that now after going through therapy, but in my mind, it protected me and it kept me from getting hurt again.
It physically and psychologically just does kind of keep people
exactly
in their space, not in your space.
Exactly. But then again, it's also hurtful because now you're being judged constantly based on the way you look, and people like you said, knew nothing about what I was going through internally, and that's what really hurt. And then it drives you more into that cycle, that cycle of shame, and feeding into the the fear and the not good enough, and you just continue that perpetuation, and that's not healthy.
So have you talked to other people who've been through something similar?
Yes, I have. And a lot of people turn to different things. I had a friend in college who was assaulted, and she turned to alcohol and drugs. Some people turn to food. Some people become overwork out and compensate. Some people, there's all vices that we can turn to. But I think that through this, I want to know that, like, one of the quotes I saw this week is that just because we've been hurt doesn't mean that we now have to live hurt. And because hurt people, and healed people heal people.
Oh, I like that.
And I want to be in the latter group. And that doesn't mean that we're okay with what happened to us. But it does mean we're going to choose to move forward into a brighter future. That you see the trauma of having our trust broken by people that we thought would never betray us and is life altering, but it doesn't have to be life ruining. And that's something that really hit home. I think that being assaulted by someone that I thought was a friend was also a huge thing for me. It broke down so many I don't even know like the right word, barriers or something that I had for myself, and just it was such a trauma that it took me many, many years to be able to be in a place that I wanted to deal with it instead of keeping everything in a box. I finally was like, I need to get everything out of this box and quit being ruled by fear. And since since having the weight loss surgery and doing this, I mean, I am so much happier, so much more less secluded. You can ask my kids, like, I get out of my room, I talk to more people, I do this, I do that.
Wow.
And I'm not, so if I still am scared to do some things by myself, I still have that fear. But I am pushing myself more and more every day to try to get out and do more. And because I mean, I still live with the demons, I still have them, but I try to combat them daily with, self-affirmations or getting out there and pushing myself to do, like getting up and walking in the morning in the dark by myself, something I would have never done 3 years ago, 4 years ago, so it's just stuff like that I'm pushing myself out of out of my little box that I've lived in for so long to do. So I'm proud of myself.
And that comes back to your motto of doing things scared.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So what, aside from stepping on the scale, so you've got two things going on. You got the physical, you stepped on the scale and saw that you had all this weight that you felt like was life-threatening. That's the physical piece of it, but psychologically beyond that, how did you manage, like, starting to trust again?
Therapy and putting myself out there, like being more open in relationships, talking to more people, not being so closed off. It's still very hard for me. I'd rather have quality than quantity. I think that's just an age thing too as I get older. So I'm very, small with my little group of people. And I still am hurt by people that I know have judged me in the past based on where I was, and I tend to hold a little bit of a grudge, which I try not to, but I mean, that's just life, I guess. I'm trying to be better but then I'm guilty of the same thing sometimes. I am not judging people based on how they looked, but how they're treating me. And so I'm automatically putting that out there. So they're receiving that negativity from me and probably giving it back to me. And so that's something that I'm also having to work on. But yeah, mentally just, again, like one step at a time, trying to do something different, or like even going to play pickleball with like my kids. Like that's something I never would have done before because I would have been like too afraid. Oh, what are they going to say? Are they looking at me? And like, who cares? Like I'm not there for them. I'm there for me and my kid in that relationship. And that's all that matters. So, and same thing going to play with Chris and like being judged, all that stuff. So I'm less worried about, I think that's two things. I'm less worried about what everybody else thinks, and I'm worried about what I think. I'm there for me. I'm doing this for me. And if I can build relationships in that and show other people like, hey, you can do this too, that's fine. Because, like I said, everybody has their vices, but just do one thing at a time. If that's drinking more water that week, do that really great. If working out once a week, do that. Talking to somebody, do that. Just pick one thing and do it really well and just build from there.
What do you think is the best resource for somebody who has been through what you've been through, and right now they're stuck and they're ready to get out of that box? Where should they go, or who could they talk to?
Find a counselor. If you don't want to go to like a psychiatrist, psychologist, there's all kinds of great counselors in Birmingham that you could talk to as a first resource. If you have a church home and you have or a faith-based person, you definitely reach out to your church. There's always people there that they can give you great resources. Internet searches, obviously there's all kinds of hotlines that maybe you could call to do that. But you have to be willing to be in that open space, to be like that you're ready, and then you have to make the first steps. Because if anybody tries to do it for you, I feel like anybody that tried to push it on me before, but until I was ready, I wasn't receptive to it.
Right. You tend to push back.
Or I would go, but then I wouldn't really be like an open book about it. I would play the game, which we all can do. We can play the game and, think that we're getting help, but we're really not.
Yeah. And that's more of that sort of like self-protection.
Exactly.
You feel like you're ready to take the risk.
Exactly. I was really big at self-protecting. I think we all are in some ways for some things. So yeah, definitely reach out. Internet search, and then just know that you might not find your perfect person that you think is going to help you the first time. Like, I have been to multiple therapists, and I have finally found one that I'm in like a groove with, and it's great. But that just because one doesn't work out doesn't mean it's over. Keep trying. You know, you have to find the person that you like drive with, and I think then that's okay. It's okay to not work out with the first person that you go to. Even doctors, you might not jive with the doctor that you go to, and find somebody else. Find somebody that will listen to you, that will validate your feelings, and, you know, push you to better yourself, you know? So, and that's okay. And that's hard to do in today's medical, you know, world. So if you can find somebody that will, you know, validate you and vindicate you and do everything, I think that's huge.
So where you are right now, 9 months later, so you are obviously happier and healthier. And how much weight have you lost now?
167 pounds.
167 pounds. So you were just evolving, and that's something that we all should do in one way or another. So
Definitely. Keep moving forward, keep changing, do it scared.
do it scared. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.